Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Titanovic's Deck Tech. If you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. We're going to begin, and we're going to do a contrast today. We're going to be looking at a deck that I've already created and one that I have on the way. I think this is kind of the best for me to kind of like explore the different options, the different cards that are available, the different types of styles that I can try out for these particular decks. Because what I have noticed is that it's hard to fit in every single like card that you want to kind of play with in the deck, and the space is that's kind of even in 100 cards. There's so many different ways you can go. So I've this has just kind of happened organically. This is the commander we're going to be focusing on is Maria, the Scholar of Antiquity. As you can see here, she's a Gruul commander, red and green and one colorless. Her abilities are to tap and untap non-token artifact you control, add forest. So she benefits a lot from like low cost colorless artifacts. I'd say is like your best bet. She definitely benefits from a good amount of 0-drop artifacts, colorless. Additionally, the 1-mana colorless artifacts are going to be predominantly like what you put in your deck the most. And I'm very excited about doing this. I'm very excited about getting all the cards that I want to get into this deck, kind of shop around, and maybe explore different avenues along the way. So if you followed my channel before, this first kind of really solid iteration that I have is a very focused dragon tribal deck. I'm gonna have like the card that I'm still looking to get for this is Cloth. So I'm definitely gonna be ordering that. I'm probably also gonna get Cloth for this deck too, just because it's such a good dragon and it produces a lot of mana. But this deck is all about the dragons here. I'm playing Savage Vetmaw. That's another card that I want to consider. So I've just in going through this video, there's just 3 cards I don't want to forget about that I want to also put in this deck. They're just these very strong dragons that produce like a lot of mana. But there's definitely going to be some room for some different types of cards to explore as well. So this one is just very focused on, excuse me, just, very heavy on the dragons. I definitely need to get a gold span. So yeah, this is just very, very dragon heavy. And it's definitely built with that in mind. So I'd say it's predominantly like 20% dragons. But I think mostly what we'll find is that I'm probably keeping most of the shell intact. So just even going through here, just looking at all these cards, I have probably like 4 or 5 cards that I already want to include into my next build. Maybe 6 now. So, I mean, it's just a lot of overlap. So the shells, they kind of stay the same. There's a little bit of room for some changes and some wiggle room. Like for instance, an Orb of Dragon kind won't be necessary for this deck. Xenagos is definitely an interesting inclusion. Haste, we have to decide if haste is really kind of something that's going to be, very important for us in this particular build, but I don't know if it's as important as the other deck having haste. So we'll see. I mean, the Xenagos is always a good choice. Aggravated Assault, that could definitely be another inclusion. So without further ado, we can kind of see what we're going on in this particular build. This build, I think, has a higher ceiling, to be honest, even though the dragons are very powerful and they have like, I want to definitely derive some of their kind of win cons into this deck. For instance, like a Hellkite Charger, along with like an Old Gnawbone, or just an abundance of treasures to like even an Ancient Copper Dragon. We might be able to achieve those kind of infinite combat steps where we're just creating like an abundance of treasures. Gold Span Dragon can help us when doubling treasures too. So we'll definitely be considering the Gold Span. So we're definitely gonna be including some of those dragons because I want to take what I can from that dragon deck and kind of include it in here to an extent. But we definitely have a different kind of game plan. This particular build is based on Artifact Reanimator. So the way that we're going to be going about that with Maria is because, I mean, green has an abundance of very good enchantments, even in standard. There's like even the Teachings of Kieran is just like a nice 4-banger. You know, you get like 4 cards in the bin pretty fast. So, I mean, that's kind of like a nice one there. But we want to make sure that we're producing mana with Maria. So there is ways we can go about that. So for instance, we just have a good suite of cards that will put cards in a graveyard, and it can also act as mana with Maria, which is very nice kind of addition here, right? So we have Shriekhorn, Mesmeric Orb. These are just very low cost. They're in that 1 and 2 spot, which Maria really likes. She can really do a lot of work on turn 2 or 3 to get like these additional cards out of your hand and start producing for you. Additionally, we have the Mask of Memory, just another nice equipment that we can sink into is with the equip cost with Maria. Remember, we can tap these artifacts the turn they come down. They can actually pay for their equip costs. It's because we don't have to tap them for the ability. They just require 1 colorless, so they can tap themselves for the equip. Very nice. So then we kind of have these newer cards like the Palantir of Orthanc. These are just very tricky cards that opponents might not know how to interact very well with. So usually we just get cards, but if we catch like an unsuspecting opponent, like when there's maybe 3 or 4 influence counters on here, we can mill a bunch of cards in our graveyard, do a lot of damage to them, and get value from that. So I'm kind of a sneaky card, to be honest, if people don't know exactly how to interact with it. Additionally, we have Scrapwork Mutt. And it's always good because that's what was good about Magic is like the educational part, right? We'll make blunders, but it's okay. It's okay to make blunders. It's not like it's, unless you're playing like for, for some skin, right? But, usually we're just having fun, right? So, additionally, Scrapwork Mutt is just a nice kind of get value from the grave and also just create value like in all manners of stems. If we're going to be looking for artifact to reanimate, we're going to be selective with our reanimation targets from our hand. Can kind of unearth this and do it over again. Also tap this for mana. It's fantastic. Bomat Curry is a nice fine addition here. We can actually get some cards into this thing, and if we have some nice cards to loot into our graveyard, we can go ahead and sack this, discard our hand into our graveyard. It's fantastic, and then draw some fresh cards. It's just fantastic. So really hoping to get this in like the opener, start swinging, start getting some cards under it so we can get some value out of it. And then the Smuggler's Copter. Additionally, this is one of those more unbanned cards that just came unbanned in a format, and now it's doing quite well. And it's a nice one, right? Because it has a low crew cost. When it attacks, you're able to bin, kind of do that looting effect, and exchange some cards for some fresh ones and put some cards in your graveyard. And then additionally, even if it blocks, it does the same thing. And it has does it have vigilance? It's okay, it doesn't, but that's all right. But when it blocks, it also does a similar function. So either when it attacks or blocks. So if that's a nice feature, that you might have to read the text, right, to get the full picture. So once we put cards into our graveyard, how are we going to get them out? Okay, good question. So we're going to be playing a good amount of payoffs, right? The first one, the most powerful, I'd say, is the Goblin Welder. This one just will exchange any artifact that you control, if you so desire. It could be any opponent or yourself. So it can target an artifact a player controls and exchanges it for a target artifact card in that player's graveyard. So it can do some wacky things like, with maybe if an opponent has a very valuable artifact in play and like a not so strong artifact in their graveyard, you can have them exchange it. So you could, be interactive with them. It's very interesting. Or you can just be interactive with yourself. Exchange, for instance, like a treasure for like a Portal of Twyford or Exia, or a Meteor Golem, Mercy to Escape Leveler. There's so many different choices. So the Goblin Welder is just fantastic. Similarly, the Goblin Engineer is definitely like just as good. Like, in my opinion, what makes this card so fantastic is you can just tutor a card from your library and put it immediately into your graveyard, which is fantastic. You get that selection. And then it has the ability for a red and a tap where you can do the exchange with an artifact that you own in a 3 cost or less from your graveyard back onto the battlefield. So it's very good for our swords. It'll be very good for like this particular card, like for instance, like an Anduril, a Flame of the West, that's just a nice exchange maybe for like a lower cost artifact. So Goblin Engineer is fantastic. Similarly, let's just go to Duretti. So Duretti is just like a Goblin Welder on a stick, because it has that -2 where it does that same exact thing where it will sacrifice an artifact. That would be you if you do return target artifact from your graveyard to your battlefield. So that's what we want. That's our benefit. We want to get some artifacts from our graveyard and cheat them out on the battlefield. Additionally, it has a +2 where it's just looting. So if we have, you know, this card in hand, for instance, like a Trash for Treasure, and we need to like loot some cards into our hand, some high cost artifacts to the graveyard, we could do that with Duretti, and then we can do ahead and do a Trash for Treasure and then get that instant benefit. So what a great interaction. What a great card for this deck. This is just another really strong card that if you have it in your opening hand and you have something, you know, meets that criteria for a nice card in your graveyard, you're just going to win very fast. So that's just a great another card, just Trash for Treasure there. So you sacrifice the artifact, return target artifact card from a graveyard to the battlefield. And then additionally, Scrap Mastery. We're going to be benefiting from our graveyard a lot. If we ever do need to like kind of, you know, reset the board, we can go ahead and, or if we'll derive a lot of benefit from our graveyard, we can go ahead with a Scrap Mastery. You know, sacrifice, everybody would sacrifice or exile all artifact cards from his or her graveyard, then sacrifice all the artifacts he or she controls, then puts all cards he or she exiled this way on the battlefield. So if we have our abundance of great artifact targets in our graveyard, we're just going to have that awesome benefit. So what are our artifact payoffs? What are our big hits? And we'll just kind of go through here and kind of just look at kind of the little tiny hits here. We got some good ones. I mean, there's just a bunch of decent artifacts overall, but I'd say there's probably some that are a little bit stronger than others. So let's just go over like the biggest ones, right? So for instance, like a portal to Phyrexia is just going to be fantastic. And we can see that one there. That's a 9 cost. It is a very expensive card, and you know, I actually took it out of my dragon version of Maria. I just felt like it would be better suited for this deck where we're going to be reanimating artifacts. It just seems like a better target. So it could probably even go into that deck, to be honest with you, because we can get to 9 pretty well. But I would say the Portal Phyrexia, this is a 9 cost colorless. And when it comes down on the battlefield, everyone sacrifices 3 creatures. And then at the beginning of our upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard into the battlefield under control. It's a Phyrexian. So it's just extremely strong late game card. It can, you know, take care of opponents' boards, and then you can kind of get value ahead of them when you're recurring cards from the graveyard on your upkeep. It's a great hit. This would be a fantastic hit as well, like a Cityscape Leveler. Just to get this out on a very early turn, you could just do quality control with the board. You can just take out problematic threats fairly easily, and really kind of be in control and wait for your more of your heavy win cons to come down. So the Cityscape Lever is that glue, that removal glue that will keep us moving through the game. Additionally, this one is very cool as well. God Pharaoh's Gift. We put in like a lot of creatures into our yard, and they'll have some nice into the battlefield triggers. So this will just be another fine payoff for us. Another fine removal spell, I would say, is just flat out removal. Meteor Golem. Just another part of our glue here, where we're just going to be able to take out non-land permanents and, you know, hopefully cheat them out soon enough, so we get that benefit. Additionally, we have Wormcoil Engine. This would be like, this one could be an artifact that we sack, you know, to, you know, get the benefit of the 3/3 and maybe recur with some other things, do some funny loop things. That'd be kind of fun and interesting. So Wormcoil Engine is another fine artifact. The one that I wanted to you know, make sure that I was including in this was, because I saw it in my previous deck here, was the Steel Kite Dragon. So that's the I just have to make sure that I have that one written down. The Steel Kite, I believe that's what it's called. It's basically like a 5/5 dragon, artifact dragon, and it it's Steel Kite, it's able to take out, when it connects, it's able to take out permanents the opponent's control if you put mana into it. So it's kind of nice. So I have to make sure that would be another fine recurring target that we can add into this that's an artifact. Additionally, Embercleave seems pretty fine here as well. Doors of Durn is one of my favorite Gruul cards at the moment. I feel like it's just fantastic. Just like to imagine that you're just getting into like, say for instance, like an Etali here, into like, a Crater Hoof or an Enraged Forerunner. It's just kind of wild. This kind of the sequencing you can have with the Doors of Durn. It's just a phenomenal card. So read up on that one, pause it there, guys, and just kind of digest that one because it's amazing. It's only like 60 cents too. So even in the Surge foil, it's just a bomb. Sky Sovereign console flagship. Just another great reanimated target. Just another nice glue piece here. Just to, we could even cast it and get some value off it as well. It's just a big flyer, Does damage to creatures or planeswalkers. Then we have the One Ring here, of course, and the Great Henge. So just some like value in card draw there. So those are that's like kind of the main concept here. The way we're kind of get there, of course, we're gonna have like our, our kind of ramp package here. We're gonna add a Mox Opal to both versions. We could also put like a Ragavan in here as well. Those, I think what I'm gonna do for that, so I can kind of save a little bit of money. What I'm gonna, I saw this on a podcast. I don't think it was the Play to Win. It was called Playing with Power. It was a nice podcast, but they said basically you can take like a box like this, just like maybe a box, and then you kind of put in the cards that are like a little more pricey, like your $50 cards, and basically sleeve them up and put different stickers on them. So what cards to like kind of swap out or swap in. So yeah, that's something like that, just like a box. I think that'd be like a fine way, because I don't really want, I'll spend like, a couple $100 like kind of filling out the deck, so I don't have to like swap out a ton of cards at once. But like, I feel like probably swapping out like a Ragavan and a Mox Opal, like, like $140 worth of cards, I don't think, maybe that would be fine, so that's kind of like our ramp package, right? So, for Maria, I think I have it kind of down, with her. Even with this one is fantastic because we are doing like an artifact, basically fodder, like we're sacrificing an artifact. The prize statue is so good, right? Because I can accelerate so fast. I can make a treasure with this. I can tap this for mana and then sack it and then get another treasure off of it. So it's just like an insane card, and it fits so well with our like kind of artifact centered, like sacrifice synergy, even more so than my initial Maria deck. So there's just like a little bit of extra juice in this deck. I think that's what could probably make it a little bit more competitive. It's just got a little bit of extra juice, I would say, overall. But we have our Dowsing Dagger in here. That's very important. That will accelerate us pretty fast. We're going to have the Ruby Medallion as well. That's a nice inclusion. Our 3 mana dorks, Halfling, Bird, Elf, and then a Soul Ring and a Ragavan. So that should be fine. Of course, we have we've kind of talked about removal already, our glue with our artifacts, but then additionally we'll have our Might, Terror of the Peaks, Tyrant's Familiar, and Balefire Dragon. Those will kind of be more of our removal glue. And additionally, why not just play like a Blasphemous Act? I suppose that could be fine. It kind of makes me want to get like another sword that gives pro red, because the Blasphemous Act kind of scares me just slightly, but I feel like we're going to be pretty resilient in this deck, maybe more so than my dragon deck, and I'll kind of explain why. So I think we could play a Blasphemous Act and be kind of fine with it. The reason why I think we'll kind of be fine is we're going to have like a little bit more of like a go wider strategy. We're going to be able to kind of like put a lot of creatures on the battlefield at once in the late game. The way that we can do that, of course, is like with the Avenger of Zendikar here. That would be just like an awesome card just to like come down in a later game and make like a lot of tokens, and then kind of finish up the game from there. We'll have like some help with that with a Thunderfoot Battle. It'll give all our creatures +2/+2 and Mary on the battlefield. Titan of Industry, that's nice that it creates a shield and also creates tokens as well. Really good with the Fable of Kiki Jiki. I am considering a Panharmonicon for this deck just because there's so many good enter the battlefield trigger creatures like Rough Triplets, Eska's Chariot. I think if there was a deck that would benefit Panharmonicon, this one would probably be the one. It is kind of like a, hard card to support, but I feel like if there was, a deck to like kind of get a Panharmonicon, this one's kind of looking nice. Especially if we're playing like a Blossoming Tortoise. Oof, what a card that is, right? And Vorinclex, just another insane card. I don't think Panharmonicon will double our enchantment ETBs, unfortunately. I think it's just creature and artifacts. But that would be really sweet if it did, of course. Just obviously we've been speaking about this card. It's just the beast, right? Just an absolute monster, the Etali. So this is a card that's kind of sick to see come down, kind of faster than normal and kind of finish games up from there. So kind of just spin the wheel. It's just like a good wheel spinner. Speaking of wheels, that kind of reminds me, I think I do want to put some wheels in this deck as well. I do have Wheel of Misfortune already. So, but I think, just the regular wheels, like, that could be a Wheel of Fortune. That would be insane, right? A Wheel of Fortune, that's like a $200 plus card, I think. So, whew, that could be something to work forward to. But I do believe I have a Wheel of Misfortune already. But I think you'd want to play both in this deck because we derive so much value from the graveyard. Of course, if I really wanted to go like uber competitive to the next level, Ancient Tomb, because I already have the Mox Opal in here, Ancient Tomb and Mana Crypt would be fine. They would probably bring my land count down to like probably 34. I think I'd probably be in the 34 rather than the 36. But Ancient Tomb is a land, so it'd probably be in like maybe the 35 zone. Probably be running about 35 lands at that point. But yeah, I mean, additionally, we're going to be playing like the haste packages. I want to add the Lightning Greaves here for sure. And, I don't know if haste is as important as it is. For my dragon deck, a lot of them are slow, but we're going to be probably playing a lot of dragons in here too. So we might just put in the full, like a Ring of Alcus, Lightning Greaves, the Dowsing Device is on its way. That would probably all be fine. So I also, some of the cards that I just, I already have like a coming here, like, some of the cards that we still want to put in, Tender Shoot Dryad for sure. And was always GTA sounds pretty good. The Rishkar's Expertise, we have some lands coming. So just kind of going through the list. We got the Ring of Valkus, Mox Opal's on its way. Last March would be good. Dragonstorm, Tooth and Nail, Finale, Devastation, possibly. I mean, we just have to pick one of these. Dockside. If like we were going to go to like a more competitive route, I feel like those would be the big three, right? The Dockside, the Ancient Tomb, and Mana Crypt. And I think we're going to be looking at like what, $80, like $150 for Mana Crypt. Ancient Tomb is like $75, so that's like a $300 ball price right there, $300 bill. So I don't know. Yeah, that could be something to work towards, I suppose. But yeah, I think that can definitely be done. Some other cards that are going to be pretty integral to this deck because we are playing that kind of selective looting from our hand, big score, unexpected woefall. Virtuous Strength sounds like an interesting choice because it could like return a card, creature, land from our graveyard to our hand. If we're looting a lot, that might be good. But this might take a place of like that artifact card that we want, right? So, or that card that is like already fitting the role, So, is it good enough? I'm not sure yet. But we'll definitely put in like the maybe pile. It's definitely in the maybe pile. So probably won't make the cut, to be honest with you, but it is a consideration. Then we have our kind of our win cons because we'll be going so wide, like with our Gruff Triplets, our Eska's Chariot, our Tender Shoot Dryad. Additionally, our Dragon Broodmother. We're going to be putting in a Dragon Broodmother. We're going to be going like on a go wide strategy, you know, trying to maybe in Scoot Swarm. That's kind of an interesting one too. I don't know if we're playing enough. You know, that's an interesting one because we will have the Oracle Moldiah, and I know that Scoot Swarm, it kind of gets the blood going, huh? Kind of gets your little dudes flowing. So that is a choice. That would be an interesting choice to consider. I would say if we do go to like a more competitive route, I think Escape to the Wilds would be a very important card because I could see us gassing out a lot faster than normal. You know, if we were to play Mana Crypt, an Ancient Tomb, I feel like we could probably empty our hand pretty fast. So I think at that time, the wheels would become much more important. I don't know if they're so important yet, but I feel like if we're going to be kind of getting into those, even like a Grim Monolith or a Mana Vault, you know, where they're really exhausting our hand, you know, in a quicker manner, I think Escape to the Wilds would probably be some good glue to kind of keep our gas going and help us find more cards. And it's great, right? It'd probably be just perfect for our deck because it'd just be like a new hand to exhaust again, you know, just to exhaust, you know, like we're emptying and just refilling, you know, and then playing all those cards out again, and trying to get ahead that way. That would be very interesting, I think. And I think that would be a very key card in that play style. This deck is not going to move as fast. I think the cards that will benefit from here are going to be like our 7 mana creatures are going to be very happy here. Like Etali is going to love this deck very much. It's going to be very easy to cast. We're going to get a lot of value from it at the way it's built at the moment. And moving into those alternative wood cons like with the Crater Hoof and the Enraged Forerunners are going to be kind of the bread and butter. We have our lands here that we've kind of, already had in our collection. So like the Mycosynth is very nice to copy artifacts, just some other duels that we have kind of already waiting in our man lands. We'll definitely have to get a Turn Timber Symbiosis here. Some of the cards that are just off the top of my mind, just from, looking through here, would be the Turn Timber and the Shattering Shatter Skull Smash. What else? Let's see here. Just from the other, we saw Shadow Spear would be very good for our low mana artifacts that I did not see that we had yet. We have a Sword of Forge and Frontier coming. That's going to be fantastic. Additionally, this is kind of just nice, right? Because this card just creates tokens too, which is really nice about the Endural. So we're all in on like the go wide token beatdown strategy. So I think it'll be awesome. Shadow Spear would be great. What are some of the other ones that I just the Sensei's Divining Top is very good. That's fine. It's like, I think it's like $20, so it's not like as bad as the Mox Opal or Ragavan. Jeez, those cards are so expensive. So, I mean, honestly, you could probably just add an elf. Like another elf over Ragavan, but Ragavan is just so sick, man. Such a cool card. So, let's see here. It makes treasures. We like treasures too. Oh, Goldspan. I don't know if I wrote that down yet, but we definitely need to get another Goldspan. We're out of Goldspans. Was there any artifacts that I was kind of missing out on? I think we want to get like a nice Ornithopter. I have that written down. Yeah, we have the Ornithopter, Hope of Gurapur, and I think that's kind of the nice hit. I think we're probably already over 100 cards, to be honest, just looking at all these cards here, so we'll have to make some cuts. But I don't think it'll be too hard. I could see us like kind of losing one of the unexpected windfalls or big scores, just one of them. I think one will be fine. I don't think we need both, just for instance. Like, I don't think the cuts will be terribly hard. We'll definitely be focusing on our artifacts. So let me just like kind of make one more look through here, just kind of like the old deck. Ring of Valkus, yes, most definitely. The dragons, of course. Old Gnawbone. So these might be the ones too where will be considering just swapping out. They're pricey, right? The old Gnawbone maybe not as much, but last time I checked, the ancient copper dragon is still like in like that kind of 60 to $70 range. The camera went out of focus there. Sorry about that. Savage Ventmaw. Savage Ventmaw is fantastic, guys. Wow, what a card. This card really surprised me with its power. Savage Ventmaw makes so much mana. And with haste, it's just a beast. Yeah, I like Dragonstorm too. Did I write that down? Yeah, I wrote Dragonstorm down. Last March. Sensei's Divining Top. That would be fantastic. Soul Ring. I actually need to get another Soul Ring. Oddly enough, God, it goes in every deck. Obviously, you need like a million of them. Sylvan Library, that's a hell of a card. Wow. Wow, Sylvan Library. That's a special card too, huh? I'll look into that one. I think it's only like $20 right now. Yeah. All right. That one will be a good pickup. Got Selvala come in. Commander's Plate. Ooh, that one's good too. That one's kind of pricey. Commander Plate. Yikes, there's so many good cards. But yeah, that's kind of, Boseiju. I can just swap those out. I have a bunch of those. The lands too. There's so many lands. But yeah, it will definitely be a project here, So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking real forward to it. Oh, I really love my dragon deck too. This dragon deck is so cool. But thanks everybody. I appreciate all the watch that you guys have given me. It's just been fantastic. And yeah, feel free to give a like, give a subscribe, comment. I'll do my best to interact with all of you. And I really appreciate you making comments. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.